What's up, Tech Motor Show fam? Today we're firing up the engines and taking a ride into the mysteries and legends of the motorcycle world. These aren't just bikes, they're icons, lost legends, and machines that left a permanent mark on history before vanishing into the shadows. Some were ridden by legends, others were engineering marvels way ahead of their time, and a few straight up disappeared without a trace. But before we peel out, do us a favor, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a ride into the rarest corners of motorcycle history. Let's get into it. Let's begin with James Dean's Triumph TR5 Trophy, a bike that defined cool in the 50s. Dean was often spotted riding this 498cc British beauty just before his tragic accident. It wasn't just a motorcycle, it was a reflection of his rebellious spirit. The Triumph TR5 had a parallel twin engine that delivered around 27 horsepower, pushing the bike to nearly 90 miles per hour, impressive at the time. After Dean's death, the bike mysteriously vanished. Some believe it ended up in a private collection, while others think it's still out there, hidden away in a forgotten garage. If it ever surfaced at an auction, we're talking millions. Next up is the BUELL RR1000 Battle Twin, a motorcycle crafted by the brilliant mind of Eric Buell in 1987. This wasn't your average Harley, it was a tech-forward, race-inspired machine with a fuel-in-frame design and a radical approach to suspension. It was too advanced for its time and never got the spotlight it deserved. With only around 50 to 60 ever built, these bikes are now nearly impossible to find. Back in 2015, one sold for around $15,000, but today its value has easily tripled among collectors who know how ahead of its time this bike was. Now, let's talk about a true gem, Steve McQueen's 1937 CROCKER Big Tank. CROCKERs were American-made muscle bikes that absolutely blew past Harley-Davidsons of the time. With a massive 1000cc V-twin engine and over 60 horsepower, they were unmatched in the 30s. McQueen's personal CROCKER is now the stuff of legend. While one of these bikes sold at a Mecum auction in 2020 for over $825,000. If McQueen's bike ever re-emerged, it could easily fetch well over $1 million. That's the power of owning a piece of history tied to the king of cool. Then there's the BRITTEN V1000, arguably one of the greatest motorcycles ever built, and it came out of a garage in New Zealand. Designed by the late John Britton, this carbon fiber-framed, hand-built machine dominated racetracks in the 1990s, going head-to-head with factory giants like Ducati and Honda. With a 999cc V-twin engine and a top speed of around 186 miles per hour, it was light, fast, and completely revolutionary. Only 10 were ever made. One was sold privately for over $250,000, and today their value is likely double that. They're unicorns in the world of superbikes. Speaking of rare, we can't skip the Vincent Black Lightning, a motorcycle that became the world's fastest production bike back in 1948. It had a 998cc V-twin engine that pushed it past 150 miles per hour, unheard of at the time. Only 30 of these bikes were ever produced, making them incredibly rare. One of the most famous riders, Jack Arrett, broke an Australian land speed record on his Black Lightning. That very bike sold in 2018 for a record-breaking $929,000, becoming the most expensive motorcycle ever auctioned. Another piece of lost history is Evel Knievel's Harley-Davidson XR 750. This was the machine that launched the most iconic daredevil of all time across rows of buses, fountains, and into American legend. With a 750cc engine and a lightweight frame, the XR 750 was purpose-built for stunts. Knievel had several of them, but a few have gone missing over the years. One surviving bike sold in 2016 for over $200,000. The others still out there, or maybe gone for good. Then there's the absolutely insane Moto Guzzi V8, also known as the Auto Cylindri. This 1955 Grand Prix bike featured a liquid-cooled 500cc V8 engine. Yes, a V8 in an era when most bikes had just 2 cylinders. With over 80 horsepower and a top speed of 172 miles per hour, it was so advanced that riders struggled to control it. Only a couple of prototypes survived, and most are locked in European museums. If one of these ever went to auction, you'd be looking at a multi-million-dollar bidding war. The Honda NR750 is a strange beast with an even stranger engine. Introduced in 1992, it featured oval pistons, 32 valves, titanium components, and more carbon fiber than most F1 cars at the time. The 748cc V4 engine made 125 horsepower and screamed like a race bike. Only 300 were ever made, and it originally retailed for a jaw-dropping $50,000. In 2022, one sold for $181,000, and they'll only get more valuable. We can't forget Elvis Presley's 1976 Harley-Davidson FLH 1200, the last motorcycle the king ever bought, just 2 months before his death. This fully customized shovelhead cruiser disappeared into storage for decades before reappearing in a private auction. With its 1200cc engine and iconic American cruiser silhouette, it was fit for royalty. In 2019, it sold for a staggering $800,000, making it one of the most expensive Harleys of all time. One of the wildest entries on this list has to be the Cyclone board track racer, a brakeless, no-rules death machine raced on wooden tracks in the early 1900s. It was fast, over 100 miles per hour, and terrifying. Actor Steve McQueen owned one, which later sold for $852,000 in 2015. Only 12 are known to exist today, and they're among the most coveted motorcycles in the world. There's also the mysterious Vincent White Shadow, a rare albino version of the Black Shadow. Instead of the signature blacked-out engine, this model featured polished alloy cases. Only 15 to 20 were ever produced. Its 998cc engine produced 55 horsepower with a top speed of over 125 miles per hour. One example sold in 2018 for over $400,000, proving that rarity still rules in the vintage world. And finally, we end with the Brough Superior SS100, famously referred to as the Rolls-Royce of motorcycles. T.E. Lawrence, better known as Lawrence of Arabia, was obsessed with these bikes and tragically died riding one. The SS100 was custom built for each buyer with a 1000cc V-twin engine and elegant lines that still turn heads today. One of Lawrence's personal Brough Superiors sold at auction in 2016 for over $450,000, a price tag worthy of its place in history. If you loved this ride through time, hit that like button, subscribe to Tech Motor Show, and ring that bell. We've got more epic stories, rare machines, and high-octane content coming your way. Until next time, ride safe, dream big, and keep your throttle wide open. Tech Motor Show signing off.